Oh my gosh, I had no idea that there was so many views and everybody was waiting on a part two. So what I'm gonna do for this video, because it's actually really late at night, and I just want to give you some context of the house that I bought. I purchased a house that was bank owned. I closed on the house in February and I got a renovation loan. The renovation loan that I am using, they are very strapped during COVID. Also, I think also incompetent in some areas, but they have not cleared me to start working on the house yet. Every week or month, I need new paperwork. My contractor needs new licensing things, this, that, and the third. But I go to the house every weekend. I met the neighbors once when I closed the house in February. I know everybody. I walk up and down the street. I walk the property every Saturday just to make sure that, oh, I'm running out of time, just to make sure that everything's okay. Part two coming up. Okay, so this is part two. So like I was saying, I walk the property every Saturday, and then I have been going to the house. My contractors were actually there on Sunday. Today is Friday, getting more measurements to send more things into the bank so we could actually start working. I have all my tile selections in there, my paint selections. I actually love the house and I love the neighborhood. It's got such good bones, and I live 10 minutes away. So I am there frequently and I'm there often. So on Wednesday, I had a long, busy day at work. I'm working from home and I live in an apartment while the house is, getting ready to be renovated. And I had scheduled the gas company to come out and change the lines because it's an old house. It was built in the 50s and the gas company needs to come out and change the lines. Now, like I told you guys, I usually only come by the house on Saturdays and maybe during the week, but this has been a busy, busy work week. Oh, part three coming, part three. Okay, this is part three. So yes, like I said, it's been a really busy work week. We're getting ready to head back into the office in July. My team, I travel across the country. So we're getting ready to hit the road soon. And I have some major projects that I'm working on. And I also decided to help the UK team on something. So I've been really, really, really busy. Normally, I would never plan to go by my house during the week. But something just told me, it was like the third bank notice had come through my email. And something just told me, it's like, I'll just get this out of the way. Why don't you just schedule it? So I scheduled it for Wednesday at around 6 p.m. And I'm doing my work and the gas company says, hey, we're there. And I said, hey, all right, give me 10 minutes. I will show up and let you in to go ahead and to check the lines. So mind you, this is Wednesday. My contractors were there on Sunday. Okay. And I'm going to go to part 4. Okay, so this is part 4. Now, so the gas person is already there when I get to the house. And I said, hey, thanks for waiting for me. So I park my car on the side of the house, which is the garage is like detached. And I come around to the front and I'm asking him saying, do you need to come inside the house? And he said, yes, I need to come inside. So I go up to my front door. I have a little porch and I am like fumbling with the keys, trying to get the door unlocked. And it's me. I'm just thinking, oh my gosh, I have like been in front of the computer for way too long today because I can't even figure out how to use the key. And so I'm like laughing and joking. And then it just dawns on me, hey, this is not my doorknob. And I said, because the house normally has an old vintage like doorknob with a lever. And this was just a silver knob. And I was like, what the heck? And I turned to the gas guy. I was like, I don't have a key for this doorknob. This is not my doorknob. Okay, this is part 5. So I'm realizing that this is not my doorknob. And in my mind, I don't know, I think it's just like slow to process because I didn't really panic at first. I told the gas guy he could leave because I don't have access to the house. And I called my contractor and I said, hey, did you guys like change the doorknob, the front doorknob of the house? Like when you came by? She's like, no, what do you mean? And I was like, this is the doorknob's changed. This is not my doorknob. So I decide I'm going to call the cops. Now I bought the house in Newark, New Jersey. So I call the cops and I say, hey, somebody has changed the lock on my house that I just purchased. And basically the dispatcher tells me this is not an emergency. So we're going to get there when we get there. Hang tight. I will let them know that you need services and I cannot give you an ETA. No one will give you an ETA on when the cops will come out there. So let's go to part 6. All right, this is part 6. So I am basically standing outside my house, really confused, and I go and decide I'm gonna go to the neighbors. One of the neighbors was outside, like trimming his bushes. There's a neighbor that is across the street from me. My house is a corner house, so we basically share the same side. Like my side of his house, like views his side. So I cross the street and I say, "Hey, did you see anybody at my house? Like, come by recently?" And he's sweet. He said no, and his wife was out there too, and she's really sweet. She said, "No, I didn't see anything. I didn't know anything." I said, "Somebody changed the locks on my house. Like, that's so weird." And like, I don't know why at the time I wasn't really panicking about it. I just decided I would go up and down the street and see who was home and see if anybody saw who changed the locks on my house. I knew I probably would be waiting there for a little bit, so I wanted it to be useful and find out really what's happening. All right, part 7 coming up. Okay, this is part 7. So I ended up asking the neighbor across the street and the neighbor behind me. And those two neighbors were the only ones that were home. And they said they didn't see anything. So in the meantime, I call my realtor and I tell her, somebody has changed the locks to my house. And I'm going to like see if I can get in on the side. And I have a side door. The other way. So I go to the side of the house through my little arch, and right now it's about 6:30, 6:45, still sunlight outside. And I look and someone has shaved the deadbolt lock off the side door, and all the metal shavings are still in the alleyway on the side. Then I got nervous and I started to panic. And I was like, what the frick? And I'm on the phone with my realtor. She's like, what is happening? She's like, where are the cops? And I was like, they said that it's going to take a minute. I'm just going to see if I can go by the neighbors and see if anybody has seen anything, because now I'm like confused. Okay, part 8. Mind you guys, this is actually a really long story. I don't know if I should wait and like do the 3-minute videos and upload it at once, because I don't want us to be on like story part 75, because this is literally insane, but it's worth it. So I don't even know what I'm saying. Okay, yes, this is the time now I'm getting anxious and nervous, because now I've realized that someone has actually shaved it and I'm not crazy. Like, the locks on my house have been changed, and the cops were going to be taking a very long time. So I went to sit back in my car, and as my neighbors pulled up and arrived, I asked them if they'd seen anybody outside of my house. Now, my realtor, she's a little bit more of a badass than me. Like, I just don't know why I'm so passive. Even looking back over the past couple of days of what's been going on, I guess I'm just too nice and I don't press any issues. She said, girl, you need to tell the cops that you hear somebody in the house and they will come running. Because it's been like, it started getting to more towards like 7:30 and no one had come. Next, part 9. So I take my realtor's advice and I call the cops back and I say, you know what, I actually just walked around the house and I was checking the property and I think I heard somebody inside. And she's like, you think you heard somebody inside, the lady at dispatch? And I said, yes. And she said, hang tight, we'll contact the officers and see if there's someone in your area. So after that, about 6 or 7 minutes later, I start to hear some sirens in the distance, and I'm like, yep, the cops are coming. That's pretty cool. Cause I really wanted to just make a report, because dun, 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 I kind of had an idea of who it might be. And so I wanted to put a police report and have it on paper. The dispatcher told me that the police officers would write up a report and I could have a record of it. So I was like, cool. So the cops end up showing up, and it's these two guys, like, I want to say Spanish guys, and they just pull up like really fast. Okay, the next part. All right, and we're on part 10. So the two cops pull up, these little Spanish cops, and they're actually really short. I thought one was a little inebriated, and they just pull up. Like, I parked in front of my house, they pulled up right next to me, but going the opposite direction. So once they pull up, I wave them down. They don't even look at me. They go straight across the street to my neighbor outside trimming the bushes, like all trying to run up and do something. And I just shake my head and get out of the car slowly. And I said, hey, it's me. It's this house right here. You know, so the guys were like annoyed. They're like, why didn't you say something to us when we were walking across the street? I was already irritated with them. And I said, I did, sir, but you didn't look. And anyway, so long story short, they're like, you heard somebody in the house? And I said, yes. So they went around and they checked the property. They said that it was secure, that they didn't see anybody. And I said, okay, well, I would like to still write a report. And they said, nope, we don't write reports. This body cam, he pointed to the body cam, and he's like, this is going to be your report. You can request. Okay, this is part 11. Anything I'm telling you It may seem trivial, but it is relevant to the story. So just hang in there with me. So, like I said, I had asked if I could write a report, and the two cops, basically pointed to their body cams and said, "Hey, no, we don't write reports." And I said, "Well, the lady at dispatch told me that you would write a report." And he said, "The lady at dispatch is not the police. We're the police. This is your body cam footage. You can request it down at the precinct if you need a record of this event." And I was like, "Okay, bye." So they were there for like maybe 8 minutes, and then they were gone. So I am now calling my contractor, and I said, "Hey, can you recommend a locksmith to me, that I can get the locks changed before I leave, because I don't want to leave the house knowing that someone out there has keys to my house." And so she said, "Hey, hang on, I'm gonna send you somebody's information." In the meantime, my actual next door neighbor, he pulls up, and I said, part 12. So my contractor, she has texted me the name of a locksmith, and I see my actual next door neighbor pull up. He pulls up in his work truck across the street from his house so he could open the gate to his house. And I walk up to him and I said, "Hey, did you see anybody at my house today earlier?" He goes, "Oh yeah, no, my wife, she met your husband." I said, "Sir, I don't have a husband." And he's like, "Yeah, I thought that was strange when she said it." But she said, "Yeah." He said, "Yeah, she said she met your husband. And she said that he was here today, like around noontime, changing the locks." And I said, "What the heck?" And I don't have a husband. And he said, "All right, well, she's in the cars with the two girls. They have two kids. And I'm going to pull the truck up and I'm going to let her talk to you." So now, like, I am inside freaking out. Next part. Part 13. So now we're come to the part where somebody has not only seen somebody changing the locks to my house, apparently she's talked to them too. And I just want to let you guys know, I'm a single lady buying my first house by myself. It's just me and my cat. I don't have no man, no husband, no boyfriend. And pretty much all the neighbors had known that. And that's why the guy was like, "Yeah, I thought that was strange when she said that." But I had never met his wife in person. Until this will be the first time. So she said, "Hey, it's nice to finally meet you." She gets the little girls out of the car, and "It's nice to finally meet you. I met your husband today. He's so nice." I said, "I just want to let you know, I do not have a husband. That was not my husband. Someone I do not know changed the locks to the house, and that is not my family. It's nobody that I know." She looked at me dead in the face, and she like freaked out. She's like, "There were two guys here, and I thought they were your husband." Part 14. And I said, "No, I'm sorry. They were not my family. They're not anything." She's like, "Yeah, no, the guys told me." One guy said he's Jamaican, he's Trinidadian. A lot of my neighbors are from the Caribbean. And we were talking, and, they told me that they were going to be my new neighbors. They were going to come by and introduce themselves formally at some point, to not to worry about all the noise, because they're going to be doing a lot of renovations come Saturday, and they're excited to move into the neighborhood. And I said, "Yeah." I'm like inside, like freaking out. And I said, "Yeah, no, I don't know those people." And she just got this horrified look on her face, because you know what she said? She was chatting it up with them, talking about how, her cameras were off because they're also doing work on their house, because the guys had mentioned they were going to be installing cameras and stuff. And, basically just chatting up with them and giving them all her personal information, thinking that one of the men were my husband or boyfriend. Part 15. Okay, so yes, and what was so strange about the thing with her is that they basically made it seem like they were going to be moving in. And as she talked to me and relayed the situation over in her brain, she said, "You know what was so strange? Her kitchen faces the side of my house that we share." She's like, "They actually were doing it with under an umbrella. One was holding the umbrella and one was sawing the side of the door." And I just thought that it was hot outside. And I said, "That's probably because they were hiding from the cameras. There was cameras on my house, but they're not operational. And there was cameras on their house, but they ended up finding out they were not operational either. So they were probably hiding from the cameras, and she got a plain view of them, but we don't have any video evidence of what they were doing." And she's like, "Oh," telling her husband, "What about the camera in the back? That's still on." And he said, "No, you unplugged it so you could plug in your laptop." Part 16. So now I know that they have one neighbor who has seen. And so basically we know it was two black guys, probably one Jamaican, one Trinidadian, who came by and sawed off the house, because the neighbor who saw them and spoke to them, we share a fence, right? So I was wondering if the neighbor across the street from me, has the actual plain view sight of the front of my house, was home. I didn't see any lights. I didn't see any movements. He's the only white guy on the block, and he's been there for 30 years. But the neighbors told me, because I went and told the neighbors across the other way who were outside cleaning the bushes, husband and wife, what had happened. And they told me that I really needed to talk to Bob, because you never see him, but he sees everything. That's basically what they told me. And I just didn't see any movement in his house. And I didn't want to disturb him, because now it's about after 8 p.m. and I wanted to call the locksmith to get somebody out there to change the lock. Part 17. So I called the locksmith that my contractor recommended. I called the number and I said, hey, can I have a locksmith out here? I kind of briefly explained the situation to him and told him I need someone to come out here and change the locks to my house. And he basically said, this isn't a good time because I am watching my nephew, blah, 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 but I can come do it in the morning. And I said, I have a huge work day tomorrow morning. If you can come and be done before 10 a.m., I think I could make that work. And he said, yeah, sure. I think I can pretty much do that. And I said, all right, perfect. So in my mind, my neighbor said she saw them and they were acting like they were going to move in, and they told her they were planning to come by the house again on Saturday. So mind you, today, the day I'm speaking of, was Wednesday, and it was around 8 o'clock. So I felt comfortable going back home. Part 18. So it's actually a little bit later than 8 o'clock that I decide I'm going to leave, and I'm going to come back in the morning with the locksmith and change the locks. I'm a little shook, but I actually had a huge work day the next day, which was Thursday. And I decided that I was just going to go home. Meanwhile, when I got home to my house, I I texted my attorney, and I let him know that someone had changed the locks to my house. And then I also briefed my realtor on what was happening, what was going on. And she was like, you need to have somebody, a 24-hour locksmith or someone coming out there and change the locks. And I was like, no, I'm not going to worry about it. Here's what I was talking about earlier with me being just clueless and dumb, I guess, in some of this situation. I said, no, I'm just going to come back in the morning and have the locks changed. It's not that big deal. 19. So the next morning is Thursday morning, and I am waiting to hear back from the locksmith. I don't hear anything. He actually doesn't call me until 10 a.m. And I said, hey, I really needed you to be done by 10 a.m. But since I hadn't heard back from him, I had moved some of the meetings around. And I said, if you could be done by 11:30, then let's go do this. He's like, oh, I'm so sorry. I completely forgot. I didn't know we had an appointment around at 10 a.m. or before 10, whatever he was saying. I should have picked up on this, and it should have been a red flag for me, but it wasn't. But this guy, and he's like, oh yeah, so it wasn't, but I'm going to head over there and I'll be over there in 10 minutes. So he actually beats me to my house. He pulls up in his little locksmith truck. He doesn't have any labeling on his car yet because obviously he was late for my part 20. Okay, so the locksmith, like I said, he's there. His car's unmarked before me, and I pull up and I greet him at the front of the door, and I go ahead and I start showing him what's going on with the locks, and he's basically explaining to me why it's going to cost $500, blah, blah, blah. And I feel somebody looking at me or staring at me. Now, I look across the street to Rob's driveway, and I see two guys in a car with some metal piping hanging out the windows of the car. I don't think really anything of it, and I go back to look, to explaining things to the locksmith, and I just got this weird feeling, and I looked back at them, and they were grilling me really hard, and I was like, oh my God, those are probably the guys who broke into my house and changed the locks. And I said, whoa, out loud, and the guys pulled forward out of the driveway, and I thought that they left. Okay, you guys, so this is a break. I stopped at part 20. I'm trying to go through the comments and just to see what you guys are asking me, and if there's anything that I can answer. But I am trying to tell you guys, you will literally have no idea. There are people who are guessing what's happening here, and you will have no idea. Like, literally, you will have no idea. Now, part 21, I think I'm going to start and let you know that it will be the big reveal, but there is going to be a lot of background information that I'm going to bring forward to bring it into context. I want to know in the comments also, because it's like almost 4 a.m. where I'm at, if you guys want me to start just uploading the 3-minute videos, or are we still good with the 1 minutes? Because there's like another 30 parts if I have to continue to tell it 1 minute at a time.